LG has long been known to be making some of the most popular TV series in the game, especially their C series lineup. It's one of the most popular ones for all YouTubers across the board and basically all consumers, especially because now they have a 42-inch size that's going to be working for monitors. A lot of people are using those for monitors. Personally, I think that's a little too large to be a monitor, but if you're looking for a large size, that's something that's perfect for you. But there's also two other series that LG makes. They have their A series and their B series, and I think the middle child, the B series of TVs, is probably one of the most popular, or one that will fit most people's needs, especially if you're an average consumer. Let's talk about why. LG B2 is the best option for a lot of consumers out there because it doesn't have all the bells and whistles from the C series, which, trust me, not every person needs it, especially, or I guess despite what the marketing is telling you, well, all the YouTubers are telling you that the C series is the one to go with. I think the B2 is a perfect zone for every single consumer out there. Now, in the long list of things that I've enjoyed of my LG B2, one of the best things is probably the design of this TV. It has a very similar design to the C series TV. The stand is one huge piece. It's also really thin around the edges. And then you do get a little bit thicker, box in the back where you can go ahead and connect all your connections. But the rest of the TV is really thin. The bezels around the screen are also really thin, which makes it seem like a bigger TV, and also doesn't seem like it's a cheap TV, kind of like the old LCD displays or the flat screen TVs where they had that thick plastic bezel around the sides. So the design is definitely one of the top features from the B2, especially the stand. A lot of other TVs have those typical TV legs where they go on either side of the TV to hold it up. But the LG OLED series actually has a larger stand that's kind of in the center of the TV. It's a weighted stand, so it can hold up the TV. It wobbles a little bit less, and at the same time, there's more surface area that touches the entertainment console, which to me, before on the other TVs, when they were just the legs on either end of the TV, there's a lot less surface area on the entertainment console, so they do wobble a bit. But with the LG OLED series TVs, you don't get that. One thing I do want to mention about the B2 is that if you're coming from an older TV, kind of like myself, I'm coming from an older Toshiba from, I believe, like 2016. This TV, because it is a razor thin, the design looks really nice, but at the same time, when you have to set it up, I felt like it was a lot more delicate. It might have been just me. Obviously, it's something completely different. It's a lot thinner. So when I was flipping it up, it did feel like I was going to break the screen. So just make sure you're careful if this is your first OLED TV, because it is a lot thinner, meaning it can be a little more delicate. And it just, again, it's just maybe a personal thing. It might not have broken regardless, but always use at least 2 people to set it up, 2 people to kind of put it on the stand, and always carry it with 2 people. But the one thing that makes the B2 series very similar to the C series is that, again, it has some of those same features, especially the HDMI ports. Now, if you're coming from an older TV, or if this is your first OLED TV, this TV is compatible with 120 Hertz, but unlike the A series and unlike the C series, all ports are not the same on this TV. The B2, being that it's in the middle, it does have 2 ports that are 120 Hertz and 2 ports are just normal 60 Hertz as it would be on any other TV. If you go with the A series, the cheaper one, all 4 ports will be 60 Hertz. And if you go with the C series, the more expensive one, all 4 ports will be 120 Hertz. Now, aside from that, all of the other features, they share basically the same thing. They are a little bit brighter as you go up the line, but the B2 is plenty bright. I have a giant window. I have my patio window right next to the TV, and even in broad daylight, I can see all the colors just fine. I can see the picture just fine. It's bright, it's clear, and honestly, I don't think it'll be a problem in terms of brightness. The other thing about the panel is that it is a reflective panel, meaning that if you are going to be sitting opposite the side of a window, it can be a bit much. It can be too reflective. But if you have a window on the side, it's not going to be a problem. And if you have a window in the back, I don't see how that's going to be a problem either. But in my setup, I do have a lamp right next to the couch where I sit. So whenever I'm watching TV, I do have to turn off the lamp. Otherwise, I would constantly see it on the TV whenever the TV or the screen, the image gets a little bit dark. And as for the two ports at 120 Hertz, one of them is also the eARC connection, meaning that if you're going to be setting any sort of sound system, it is going to have to take up one of the 120 Hertz connections. Again, I don't think that's going to be a problem for most of the average consumers. I myself am using one for the sound system, and then I have the other 120 Hertz HDMI port hooked up to my PS5 so that I can also game on this TV. And then the other two ports are taken up by my Nintendo Switch and the Apple TV that I don't think it really needs anything more than 60 Hertz. Now, if you are someone that watches a lot of movies and TV, I have heard that there are people that can see kind of like the little skip of the frame whenever you have it on a 60 Hertz connection and a 60 Hertz panel, because it has something to do with the 24 frames per second that a movie is shot in. So whenever you switch it to the Hertz, 120 Hertz divides evenly into 24 Hertz, but 60 Hertz does not divide evenly into 24 frames per second. So there's always going to be a frame skip or an extra frame that gets put in so that it matches that 60 Hertz panel. But personally, I've never noticed this. And if you're coming from a 60 Hertz panel and you've never noticed it, you've never had an issue with it, you won't notice it on this TV either. Now, obviously, if you don't have a sound system and you're not going to be using the eARC connection, then you still have those two ports at 120 Hertz. And honestly, after I got this TV, I don't think I needed the sound system. The sound system was a lot better than my previous TV. But at the same time, I had already set it all up. I was using it already with my previous TV. So I just kept it hooked up to the eARC connection. But again, if you don't have one already, you probably won't need one. If you were fine with your previous TV speakers, these TV speakers are so much better. They have 20 watt 2.0 surround sound system, which honestly, they sound really great. And here is a clip of the difference between using the Vizio 5.1 versus the LG B2 built-in speakers. Now, this TV is a smart TV. It does come with LG's WebOS operating system, and it honestly works well. A lot of people have used it. I actually use it at work. They have a lot of LG TVs where we can present things. It looks pretty nice. It looks kind of snappy. I personally am not using it on this LG TV because I have an external Apple TV that I'm using. Like I mentioned, I use the 60 Hertz connection, so I don't use the WebOS. But it is there in case you want to use that. And it also comes with AirPlay. So if you don't have an Apple TV, but you do have an Apple device, you can always play straight from your device onto the TV just fine. I will say though that the remote is not the best one I have tried. I'm someone that likes really a simple remote. I just need to click around and adjust the volume. But this remote has what they call the magic remote because it has a cursor. It reminds me kind of the PlayStation. Whenever you had to type in, you could use your DualShock, I believe, on the PS4, and you can move it around and a little cursor will come up on the screen to show you what you're typing. That's how the remote is. I personally don't like it because it's very finicky, and when you're pointing it at the TV, it's kind of like you're using a wand and then you're just pointing it right at the TV trying to match it up. And I personally don't like it, but if you're someone that likes to use that kind of feeling like Harry Potter moving the remote around trying to type something in, it'll work great. I personally just don't like it. If you are interested in getting one that's at a lower price, I am going to include links down in the description, both for the brand new TV as well as renewed. I always recommend going with Amazon renewed because there's always that return policy where if you don't like it, it doesn't come as you expected, you can always return it for free. Now, even though I don't think a lot of people need the C-Series TV, that's going to be more for gamers, someone that has multiple gaming consoles, kind of your whole all-in-one entertainment system for gaming, then you can definitely go with the C-Series or the G-Series LG TVs. I'm gonna be linking those down below as well in case that's kind of what more you're looking for, or even if you just want to compare the two TVs, I'll make sure to link those down below as well. But honestly, like always, I think the middle ground, the one that's going to be a little more on the budget side, but still give you that experience of a premium TV, premium picture, as well as enjoying your movies with great sound, I think the B series is going to work great for a lot of us. But in terms of the ports, I definitely want to know what you think. Are 2 ports at 120 Hertz enough for you? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the content, and I'll catch you on the next one.